I'm loving it. Welcome to the CastOFF. I just said that there's going to be 2 buttons I'm going to screw up today, and I already done it. So welcome to the CastOFF. I'm your host, Craig Price. Tonight, we have the recasters recasting the cast, playing another cast in the movie Tropic Thunder. Let's get to last week and our little recap. Last week was a phenomenal show. We had Alex Barnhill and Liz Cerna battling it out over Anchorman, which was extremely difficult to recast. And Alex squeaked out a win to move into the second round. But tonight, we have 2 former players, and in fact, one of our first rematches ever on the CastOFF. In this corner, he was the runner-up of season 1. You know him, you love him, and if you watch him on Fridays in Utah in the morning, you get to see the wonderful Patrick Beatty. And in the other corner, showing off his Funko Pops, he is one of the greatest guys at Comic Palooza and a good friend, Cary Gordon from the Metal Geeks. How are you guys doing?
Woo, good.
Yeah, good,
like
sir.
Said,
how are you?
It's going slow. There you guys are. It takes a second. Everything's running slow. So last time you guys met, it was Alien, the original, and it ended up being 5-3 Patrick.
That's right.
So Cary, I'm going to start with you. What are your goals for the evening?
Came here to win, my friend. I've thought long and hard about my picks, and I enjoy them. Hopefully everybody else did too.
And what's going on over at Metal Geeks?
We're about to do our rewind, our 2020 rewind, where we talk about our favorite albums and movies and TV and all that good stuff, video games. There's been a lot of good entertainment for such a horrible year. It
has been a dumpster fire. And someone who's actually I think he's doing quite well this year, and I'm very happy for him. He has moved from podcasts and YouTubes to mainstream media, and we are very proud and jealous at the same time. Patrick Beatty, how are you, sir?
Man, I thought you were starting with, speaking of dumpster fire, here's Patrick.
No, you're doing great. You are on
I would take dumpster
Utah.
Fire, though. Well, thank you for having me on again and letting me back in. Cary, I think last time with Alien, I think we both had crazy good picks, and this I'm sure you brought your A game. I've been satisfied with what my picks are, but at the same time, you got nothing to lose, man. Me, my job's riding on this. I don't know if anyone knew that, but they said I can't come back on the show unless I win.
Oh wow!
So we'll see.
As long as you talk about it on the show, that's all that matters. Anything for free publicity. So
I can't throw it at this point because I've already put my picks in. So
that's why you can't grovel and I can't change it. So there's no
that's
bribery.
Right.
There's nothing you can do. So let's get on with the game, and let's quick recap the rules. As always, I will name out an actor and the character he plays. You are going to give me your choice. The best choice gets 1 point. If perchance, which did happen with Brie Larson in Alien, if for perchance someone picks something that I have secretly picked, you get an extra point. Now, sometimes my secret selection and the best choice are not the same because there are other people and other judges involved. The person with the most points wins. And then, of course, if there's a tie, you will have to, on the spot, give me a double feature, and I, being the sole arbiter, will decide which is the best. Today's additional judges were Brendan Agnew, who just was going to be on and doing Amadeus for the new year, and our good friend Devin Pike. So if you don't like what's going on, you can email matineeheroes@gmail.com and make it sure in the Brendan Agnew or Devin Pike in the subject and complain about them, because I am only a small cog in this little machine. Of course, this week coming up, this show brought to you every week by Matinee Heroes Podcast. We're doing our time travel December, Time After Time. The great H.G. Wells battles it out with Sherlock Holmes from 1979. So you can head over to matineeheroes.com/subscribe to the podcast and do that. And if you like what you're seeing now, you can head over to matineeheroes.com/castoff and sign up to the video stream. Gentlemen, Are you ready for Tropic Thunder?
Ready.
All right. We're going to start off with, I guess I would say you'd be the vice president of last year. You're the runner-up. We will start with Patrick. And Patrick, you start with, surprisingly, the man who invented it all. But I would think once we get to some of the people in the movie, you'll see that he shouldn't be necessarily the top build. But we've got the great Ben Stiller as Tug Speedman. Who do you have as Tug Speedman?
Yeah, so with Tug Speedman, I was thinking with this entire film, wouldn't it be kind of a fun opportunity to take the caricatures that each role has within themselves and give the act that have kind of added to those caricatures their role in it. So when I was thinking of somebody that could portray an action hero that might be a little bit older, maybe starting to dip beneath where he should be and stuff, I was thinking Hugh Jackman, weirdly enough. Hugh Jackman was the first thought that came to mind, and it could not escape me from that point.
Well, as we all know, that Hugh Jackman is a snot-ass punk. He's been in great movies like Van Helsing, Swordfish, Movie 43, Chappie. So, yeah, if you want to talk about washed-up superheroes, Hugh Jackman is your man. Not a fan. Cary, who do you have? Let's move on to Hugh Jackman.
Thinking.
So, for some of the characters in Tropic Thunder, you have to sort of look at them in two different ways because they do have their movies inside the movie. And I was looking for somebody that is super hilarious, but he's actually a really good dramatic actor as well, and can do those really good looking, like, look at the camera things that Tug Speedman does, Ben Stiller. So I went with Jon Hamm.
Ooh, yeah, definitely can do that. He's known for playing a lot of a-hole lawmen. Also, big time in Mad Men. It's his big thing. But Kimmy Schmidt, he was a cult leader.
Yep.
But yeah, Bad Times at the El Royale, an FBI guy. He was in The Town. He's what we call a good-looking guy, but he actually is very funny, which is unusual because most good-looking guys are not funny, and most funny guys are not good-looking. I am neither one. All right, so as we go through, Patrick had Hugh Jackman, which, since he is my nemesis, automatically loses a point. Cary, you decided on Jon Hamm. I was looking for Sylvester Stallone. I'm going to go the real deal. Our judges talked and hashed it out and vetoed me and gave Hugh Jackman the point. So, Patrick...
that puts me back to 0.
Yeah, well, because it's not in the rules that you can't pick Hugh Jackman, I can't deduct the point, so I'll give you the point reluctantly. I'm not happy about it.
I like Jon Hamm better, too. I might have picked him, too, in that case.
We call him Huge Jackoff, because that's what he is. We don't need him. All right. Now we move on to Jack Black.
He's never coming on the show.
Yeah, he's never coming on the show. He's never coming on the show. So I don't have to worry about it. Cary, we've got you. We're going with Hugh Jackman, who's playing. We're going with you. We're on Jack Black playing Jeff Portnoy, who is basically a character. He plays all these wild characters, and they're all obnoxious. So who do you have replacing Jack Black, who also has to play a drug addict?
That's correct. I think this is one of the most difficult ones of the series. Like, he did the farting movie, so it has to be somebody that's not afraid to put themselves out there and be really weird and crazy, and somebody who's not afraid to be almost naked the whole movie. I went with Ken Jeong.
Oh, Dr. Jeong, absolutely.
Yeah.
Who is a real-life, legitimate doctor who decided to throw it all away and become an actor.
That's right.
He's in Knocked Up, The Hangover, where he is naked in the Hangover, and then he come popping out of a trunk.
That's right, he does.
And then he's elevated. He's still having these backup players. Now he's big time funny, has his own TV show. Yeah, I like him. He's really good, especially when he was in Community. I really like his Community.
Oh, yeah.
So, Patrick, who do you have to go up against Ken Jeong?
Sure. So I went with Seth Rogan for Jeff Portnoy. I think Seth Rogan has a lot of comedic sensibilities. I think that, honestly, his his performance in The Night Before, with him just being drugged out the entire time during the holidays and going to a cathedral and seeing Jesus and be like, did we do that to him? People think we did that. Like, that's exactly what Jeff Portnoy feels like to me. And I think that he probably would go shirtless some of the time, maybe not all of it, but a little.
And did you see him in American Pickle?
Yes, he was really good in that.
I thought he was actually very good in that, which is unusual because there's no way you can survive a pickling like that. It's not scientifically accurate. So we've got Ken Jeong, Seth Rogan. Of course, I went with Eddie Murphy because he can do both. He's basically the farts with the clumps, and he can do all the dramatic stuff.
I thought of that, but it was a little too on the nose for me.
Oh, all my picks are on the nose, but I didn't think anybody would have the balls to do it. And the judges decided on Seth Rogan. So Patrick takes a 2-point lead, but with 5 to go and lots of things to pop up, there's plenty of points still on the board.
Mm-hmm.
So Patrick, oddly enough, had this movie come out 4 years later, he would be the top billed star. The fact that he's number 3 is crazy. And this is where I told last week, we're going to have 3 white guys uncomfortably talk about blackface. This is probably the most controversial pick we've ever had on the show. So who do you have playing Kirk Lazarus as the Australian playing all these different ethnicities? I think
Lazarus is a very controversial character, especially now. However, I think he was incredible. I cut out.
Yeah, you got a little lag, but go ahead.
Okay, cool. So I'll just go right to it. I went with Christian Bale as Kirk Lazarus because I think Christian Bale embodies that actor that's doing things to hurt maybe himself and society to get the role he wants, whether it's screaming on the Terminator Salvation set, whether it's gaining 90 pounds and losing 90 pounds and gaining another 90 pounds. He will do anything for his role, and it's been established with that. Maybe he won't in real life go as far as Kirk Lazarus with just getting like pigmentation changes, but I do think Christian Bale is a good pick for Kirk, along with Hugh Jackman as Tug.
Oh, Christian Bale's great for this because he's exactly the kind of person they're talking about. So, Cary, who do you have bringing the Oscar bait?
I went with somebody that can fit in the Venn diagram of being a bad actor and a good actor at the same time, and not afraid to go crazy and do things that are not normal. And the character of Kirk Lazarus is definitely not normal.
Yeah, that's understated. Yes.
I chose Nicolas Cage.
All right. Yes. So let's not forget he is an Oscar winner and he can do it. So leaving Las Vegas where he won the Oscar, but of course he was great from the beginning, from like Raising Arizona. It's only in recent years has he really decided, I don't care, I'll do whatever I want. Right?
That's right. Give him a chance to be Nick Cage and he'll go off.
I think he'd be fantastic. So we've got Christian Bale, Nicolas Cage. I went with Daniel Day-Lewis. Again, way on the nose. And the judges decided on Christian Bale. Ooh, Patrick is taking a commanding 3-point lead. But there's still lots to go. So let's head over to Nick Nolte in one of the rare... I can actually understand what he's talking about because his mouth isn't so mumbly, but he's still got that thing going. As 4-leaf tayback. Yeah, God, he's great in The Mandalorian, but I can't understand half the stuff in anything else. Cary, who do you have playing Sarge? 4-leaf tayback.
You have to go with somebody that's disheveled and can be known as a little bit of a pain in the industry. I chose Bruce Willis for the part.
Now, Bruce Willis is great because he is difficult and he is getting cranky. I blame him for the whole bald is beautiful situation because he was like the first real action hero that didn't have Yul Brynner, but this is different. This is whole thing. But 12 Monkeys, Looper, The Sixth Sense, all available at matineeheroes.com in our archive. We did not get the blind date where he first debuted, but he was good in that, even with a little John Larroquette cameo.
Right.
So, Patrick, who do you have as the Sarge?
Yes. So for Four Leaf, I want honored with Nick Nolte and go that just as around the age range and just as hard badass that might be able to turn. And I would be very curious to see the turn with it. Can we spoil Tropic Thunder since we're talking about it?
Sure, it's been out for forever.
Okay. When it's turning out that Four Leaf actually has his hands, I would love to see Jonathan Banks from Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad in the role. This is like my personal strongest pick.
Well, let's not forget Jonathan Banks has been around forever. He was in Gremlins and in Buckaroo Banzai, which also at matineeheroes.com. He was in Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles. But yes, he has really killed it as Mike on Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. I think he's fantastic. And Community. He was really good in that.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Bruce Willis, Jonathan Banks. I went with a director that can sometimes act, Oliver Stone. Our judges decided on Bruce Willis. So Cary is on the board. Good job.
I don't have to leave yet.
No, you don't have to leave yet. The show is still going. You still got this. All right. So, Patrick, now we get to the only reasonable person on this whole show. He's genuinely wants to be there. He's trying to be a good actor, and then when things turn sideways, he's trying to get people, he's just trying to do the right thing. So we've got Kevin Sandusky, played by Jay Baruchel. Who do you have playing the young new guy?
So my Kevin Sandusky is an actor that you might know from Comedy Central. I don't think it's the most known pick, but in my opinion, I feel that Nathan Fielder has a comedic sense about him that is both kind of stoic while at the same time comedic through the entire bit. He's hilarious in The Night Before as the driver to their party. Nathan For You is just incredible. It's one of the best comedy shows out there. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it.
Yeah, it was very difficult to find acting. Not that he doesn't act in Nathan For You, but he is playing like a Stephen Colbert-esque character where he's improvising in character the entire time with actual people, which is very difficult. But I don't know how that would translate to the screen. So he has
improv and comedy, man. Improv and comedy.
Yeah, but that doesn't always mean it's good on film. But he was in The Disaster Artist. He was in The Night Before. So let's go on to Cary. Who do you have playing young Sandusky?
I was trying to. This was another hard, difficult one for me. I was trying to maybe go with like a Ben Schwartz type character actor, but I actually went old school on this, and I went with a young Don Knotts.
In what one of our judges called the gutsiest pick in the history of Matinee Heroes CastOFF, the great Don Knotts. He always played a high-strung guy, in The Incredible Mr. Limpet and Ghost and Mr. Chicken, The Apple Dumpling Gang. Of course, he was Mr. Furley in Three's Company. This was inspired. So I will say the fact that you went that far back and used some thinking, this is great. I really like this pick. So we've got Nathan Fielder, Don Knotts. I went with Andrew Garfield, otherwise the middle Spider-Man now. And to make sure that we honor the pick, Don Knotts, the gutsiest pick, gets the gutsiest point ever given.
Nice.
I have to say that was phenomenal. So now we get on to Brandon T. Jackson as Al Pacino. And Cary, who do you have playing the, I want to say, sexually confused minority? He's the only minority character in here.
Sure.
So, especially when he's got to deal with, we got Robert Downey Jr. in blackface. So he's got a lot of different things he's working with. That's
right. I was looking for somebody that could handle that role, and also, do the whole juice commercial rapping stuff as well. And I went with a Friday Fifth Element era Chris Tucker.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Yes, from The Fifth Element, Friday, Rush Hour, and just to throw in some class, Silver Linings Playbook.
Right.
I could definitely see that. He'd be perfect for that because he definitely has everything you need and surprisingly can act. In The Fifth Element, to be able to wear that hair and not laugh the entire time, good for him.
That's right.
Patrick, beat that.
Okay, I'll try. So Al Pacino, he's a musician, right? He's got to have some type of flexibility with who's wanting to make out with. Guys, girls, doesn't matter. I think that we've seen the possibility of that being the case with a Star Wars character by the name of Lando, which is why I've decided to go with Donald Glover as Al Pacino.
That is a very good counterpoint right there. He's super talented. Not only is he in Community, but he stars, produces, sometimes directs, and writes Atlanta. Awesome as Billy D. Williams in Lando, because he wasn't just Lando. He was doing a great impression of Billy D.
I would pay him right now to get us a version of Booty Sweat from Childish Gambino. I would pay money for that.
I think a lot of people would. I think you'd have to pay a lot of money for that because he is not cheap anymore. We've got Chris Tucker, Donald Glover. I went with Drake just because when I think of Drake, I think of sexually ambiguous kind of wannabes, and that's what I feel about Al Pacino. And our judges really discussed this one. This one is a lot closer than you think it is, and it went to Donald Glover.
Rightly so.
So it's 4-2 Cary with one left, which means there is still a possibility of a Craig secret pick and just outright getting the right one. So there's still 2 points on the boards. So with that, we will go with Patrick for our final one, which is the great Tom Cruise as Les Grossman, who apparently went Les Grossman today on set. He's screaming at people about not wearing their masks.
That's right, he
for
did.
COVID, which I certainly appreciate. So, in one of the dirtiest characters I've ever seen him play, who do you have playing Tom Cruise as Les Grossman?
Well, I feel like the trend that you need to go with Les Grossman is find the actor that you couldn't possibly see doing this. But I decided to do a 180 and go with the person that I think could only be this character, if not Tom Cruise. And that, Cary, I went with Nicolas Cage as well.
Oh, wow.
It was Cary's Kirk Lazarus pick. He was in Mandy. He was great as Noir Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, The Wicker Man. But also he has got a new show coming out in Netflix next month called Swears, where he talks about the history of swear words. And I can't wait for him to drop a couple of good ones because that's going to be an amazing show. I've already seen clips of it. It looks great.
I think Nicolas Cage could play both parts in the movie if he wanted to.
It's possible, yeah. And so let's go with Cary. Cary, you've got to really come with it because you got to impress me and you got to impress the judges, which is not going to be easy.
I will do my best. I tried to find somebody that is sort of he's an action star. He's also been known to do some comedies, and I went with Batman Ben Affleck.
The Batfleck, yes.
The Batfleck.
We've got Matt Damon's significant other, where he won his Oscar for Good Will Hunting. He shut down emotionally for The Accountant. Also with Jon Hamm in The Town. So maybe is that something you saw recently that you've got Jon Hamm and Ben Affleck?
Always.
I think he'd be great. I was in line to be his moderator for FanX. And then he canceled on my birthday. I will never forget you, Ben Affleck. I will never forgive you. So we have Nicolas Cage, Ben Affleck. Let's remind everybody what's at stake. Now, Nicolas Cage already was up on the board as Kirk Lazarus and was rejected. Ben Affleck, a fellow New Englander like myself, I actually really like his Batfleck. I think he's actually a very underrated actor, but a fantastic director. So if I picked him, that's a point, and then we'll have to go on. So it could be here. This could either be a tie or it's going to be over, and we decided it's over. I'm sorry.
No.
Nicolas Cage, you can't deny, would be an amazing Les Grossman. And so today's winner, once again, Patrick Beatty. Patrick, any final thoughts?
Cary, you got really good picks, man. The Nicolas Cage thing. Here's what I'll say about this. I lost to Randy for the same reason that you lost to me today. And I don't know how I feel about that. I'm going to be real.
We'll have to have a Nicolas Cage off. We'll have to have a
copy of
Nicolas Cage
Cage's
off.
Jiu-Jitsu. How about I'll send this to you?
Is that my consolation prize? I'll take it.
Yes, you can watch Jiu-Jitsu.
We'll have to have a Nicolas Cage off one day.
Heck yeah.
Well,
you
I
were
cannot
great,
do
dude.
Nicolas Cage
Thank you.
and not include the great Steve Condrick, who worships Nicolas Cage. So it would have to be a three-way. So thank you very much. Great job. But we have one more game in round one, and that means next week we have game number 8, Jake Dietz from Movies That Make Us versus, hey, he's a homebrew craft owner, Ben Jones. He owns a brewery. He's got beer. Maybe he'll be a sponsor. We'll never know. The movie they're going to do, it's the holiday season. Happy Hanukkah for everybody. Happy Hanukkah to Cary. Next week is the game before Christmas, so we have to go with a family-oriented movie, right? And so we did Dysfunction for Thanksgiving. We're doing Dysfunction for Christmas with Knives Out. This one's going to be difficult, and it'll be a great way to end the season, end the first round as we head into the season. But once again, thank you very much. If you like the show, head over to Matinee Heroes on Twitter and follow us. Follow us on twitch.tv/Matinee Heroes. Go to Facebook. Or if you want to follow us on YouTube, go to matineeheroes.com/CastOFF, and there's a link right through there. It's much easier than actually having to type in the 1700-letter URL. But on behalf of Cary and our winner, Patrick, thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week.